Hello singers. Today we're talking about matching pitch and singing in tune. Of course, this is fundamental to what we do as singers, but it is a skill and sometimes we need to work on it. I'm going to play a series of pitches for you. Just use a neutral vowel like la. La, 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 la. Your turn. You need to think about what you're doing. You're listening to the pitch, you're hearing it in your mind's ear, and then you are replicating it. What singers will sometimes do is they will not sing the pitch exactly as it is. Sometimes they'll kind of sing around it and they'll scoop up to it. Well, unless it's written as an intentional glissando or slide or smear, it's just an out of tune scoop. And even if you get up to the pitch you're supposed to be on, it has a residual effect of sounding flat. So you want to practice having a correct onset. I encourage you to practice what we just did. Play a reference pitch and sing it back. And if you don't have a piano or a guitar or another instrument, you can always download a pitch pipe on your phone. I have this one called Pocket Pitch, and I use it all the time. I've used it to give choirs pitch, and I've also used it to figure out what key a piece is in when I'm listening to it. So let's talk about things that contribute to intonation issues when you sing. I think we all assume that all good singers sing squarely in the center of pitch, but it isn't always natural for every singer. Sometimes people will tend to sing on the high side of pitch consistently or on the low side of pitch consistently. Our posture, of course, is an issue. You need to make sure you're standing or sitting correctly. You are your instrument, and you want to make sure it's in top form. Now, another issue that comes up a lot for people, hearing issues. We begin to lose our hearing, some of us, as we get older. I know a number of singers who are wearing hearing aids that you cannot even see that they're wearing them, but they help tremendously. But if you are struggling to hear, you're bound to have issues with going out of tune. Another issue singers have is learning music. When you're learning your notes and you're not secure about your part and you're doing all you can to get the right notes and the right rhythms, sometimes tuning goes out the window. The problem is you can form really bad habits like that. So you want to pay attention to your tuning. Sometimes you'll have intonation issues if you're not warmed up. So take time to warm up your voice. And one other factor that comes into play, particularly in choirs, is vowel shape. Sometimes the vowel shape will make you sound like you're out of tune. If everyone in the group is singing ah and you're singing ah, you will sing out of tune. But there are also some vowels that tend to sing out of tune. The vowel, the short U vowel, like in the word the. If you're not careful, it will sing flat. So I often ask singers to sing more of an the, more of an ah vowel sound. There is also a technique that is used by a lot of conductors of having singers accentuate the schwa sound at the end of a word. Now, the schwa is the most common sound we make when we speak, even though we don't know it. It is the neutral vowel that comes in at the end of the word. We'll take the word land. I prefer, if people are going to accentuate a final sound, that it be more like an I, like land, instead of land. I once heard a choir sing, and they were singing the word land at the end of a phrase, and they were singing this beautiful big chord, land, and the last split second of that chord, it went out of tune. And it was because they were singing instead of I, land. Also, who you sit next to plays a big factor in how well you sing in tune. Singing next to people who sound differently than you is so beneficial. if you sit next to someone who has a similar voice, you're going to struggle hearing yourself. So if you have a light voice, sit next to someone who has a heavy voice. If you have a dark voice, sit next to someone who has a brighter voice. So let's talk about singing flat and sharp. Now, I cannot possibly go into every reason why someone might sing out of tune, but these are just general ideas and observations I've had over the years for singers and for myself. Firstly, if you are tired, vocally or physically, or if you're under the weather, your voice will often reflect your physical reality. So in those instances, it's better to take it easy. If you sing with a lot of vocal tension, which you want to avoid, you can sing flat. Also, when singers perceive a note as being high or too high, or they don't know how to place a note, they'll tend to sing that note under pitch. And lastly, what I notice more than anything when it comes to flat singing is that singers are not supporting the voice with their breath. For instance, when I sing, I take a deep breath in. My breath is powering that, but singers oftentimes will take a shallow breath and they will I say it's singing behind the lips, or it's not moving the air through, because the air doesn't seem to be leaving the body and the sound doesn't sound like it's going any further than the lips. We want our sound to be out in front of us. Singing sharp. Now, I love energetic, engaged, and enthusiastic singers, but sometimes if you're too energetic and too enthusiastic, you can sing sharp. So we walk that fine line of wanting to look really engaged, all the while maintaining pitch. Another reason people will sing sharp is they oversing. They almost get a little yelly. They're pushing the voice too much. So be careful that you don't oversing. And lastly, people sing sharp to overcompensate, either for other people or for themselves. So in a choir, if you're in a section and most people are singing a little under the pitch and you're aware of it, you might try to sing sharp to help lift the pitch. I do that. Well, if everyone doesn't go along with you, all you're doing is creating more dissonance. You're really not helping. And yes, we do want everyone singing in tune, but ultimately, we want it to sound like a unified section. Also, if someone has told you in the past that you were singing out of tune or you were singing flat, you might be overcompensating to make sure you never sing flat again. So consequently, you sing things on the high side of pitch. One of the best ways you can exercise tuning is to think about a guitar or a ukulele. You play a pitch and you lower it and you raise it and you put it back in tune. Sing a pitch, intentionally go sharp, then intentionally go flat, and then bring it back into tune. La. That is really a great way to help fine-tune your ear. Practice going out of tune and bringing it back to pitch. We basically do that in a split second for every single note we sing, every time we sing. You need to listen to yourself, record yourself, see what your tendencies are. I want you to be aware also of your tuning relative to itself. For instance, this pattern, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's pretty much in tune. Now, I'm going to sing the third flat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now the 1 is too low, because the third was too low, and then the second was too low, and then consequently 1 was too low. Well, you can call this relative intonation, or you can call it intonation accumulation. It basically is intonation issues building on themselves. We see this all the time in choirs. They'll be singing a piece and they'll get to the last chord of a phrase or the piece and the last chord's out of tune. And you can spend 15 minutes trying to tune that chord, and then when you run it again, it's out of tune again, and it's crazy making. But the problem isn't the last chord. The problem is always one of the notes preceding the chord. Therefore, it becomes very difficult to sing the final chord in tune. And that's where we're going to leave it today. I hope this has been helpful and informative, and I look forward to seeing you whenever I can. Take good care.